Welcome to the Saturday Sports Line. Since 1969, the premier sports show about local high school sports, featuring coaches, players, and special guests. Now, here is your host of the Saturday Sports Line, Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI Sports Director, Mitch Columbi, and sports analyst, Chris McGowan.
That will be the end of the ball game. 47-35 is the final as the Winamac Lady Warriors avenge their 2024 loss a year ago on January 5th against their rival, the Knox Lady Redskins, here at Warrior Gymnasium in the war on 35. Happy New Year from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios. This is the Saturday Sports Line, the longest-running high school sports show in Indiana, thanks to our very own Harold Welter. Since 1969, we've been here for you, and now we enter a new year, 2025. Good morning, Chris McGowan.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Did you have a good holiday break?
Yeah, a pretty good holiday break. I had the last two Saturdays. I actually got to sleep in till 5. So yeah,
it was nice. What? Nice. 5 p.m.?
Yeah, 5 a.m.
Oh, I was about to say, geez.
Oh, no, I'm not sleeping all day.
I wouldn't mind that a couple of times. I could probably do it, too. Don't test me.
Oh, don't. I want to hibernate like a bear just one winter. That'd be awesome.
Well, did Santa take care of you?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I got a couple of. I always get the annual mouthwash and toothpaste. Dad always loves to do that. That's his gift. So.
I got the annual gift cards to Barnes and Noble. And
you got gift cards. You got gift cards.
Gift cards. Yeah.
Wow, gift cards. Interesting.
Interesting.
I hope Mom and Dad are listening. Gift cards, huh?
Right. Yeah. Gift cards. It's been a yearly thing for the last 20 years probably. I get my Barnes and Noble gift cards, and I just looked at Mom. I said, Santa. I looked at Santa and said, hey. Give me my gift card so I can go to Barnes & Noble's. I need some new books.
Well, we have a jam-packed show today. We're going to talk with head coach Kent Chezem of the North Judson-San Pierre Blue Jays here in just a couple of minutes. We'll also talk some wrestling. First time we've had a wrestling coach in here in the winter season. It will be Kenny Neilsen, head coach of the West Central Trojans. Then we'll button things up in the first hour with head coach of the Oregon Davis Lady Cats. It's Aubrey Lady. Top of the next hour, we'll have our Athlete of the Week interview with Hunter Clemons. Then we'll chat Winamac boys basketball with head coach Mike Springer in the second hour. And then, of course, the Where They Now segment with Harold Welter. He's talking to Don Zehner today.
Don Zehner.
Don Zehner. So very interested to hear that interview. So we invite all of our listeners to stick around all the way to the end where we will announce our new Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week, the first one of 2025. We have a game on tap tonight, though. The North Judson-San Pierre Blue Jays will be hosting one of their cross-county rivals, the Oregon Davis Bobcats. That's happening tonight for some boys basketball action. We have been alerted there is only one half of JV going on for the listeners who may be tuning in right now. Make sure to get there a little earlier if you want to see the start of that varsity game. We will plan to be going live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. That's right here on 99.3 FM and WKVI.com, streaming throughout the world. One thing that I thought was interesting, we don't cover college sports, but I did want to bring this up. An Indiana football team is in the college football championship game.
Yeah, University of Notre Dame, I tell you what, January 20th, that's going to be one heck of a matchup with Ohio State. So, yeah, it's exciting times. I've grown up in this area my entire life, and I've always been a Notre Dame fan. So, I'm also a Penn State fan. So if Penn State would have won that, I wouldn't have been too upset. But again, just what a heck of a football game. Just two real good programs that do it the right way. And I tell you what, for Notre Dame to battle and to pull that out was amazing. So I'm looking forward to January 20th. I know that. When I moved
back here 2 years ago, I'd never been to a Notre Dame football game, and I always was told, you got to go. And since I live in Plymouth, I have no excuse just down the road from South Bend. So I finally got some tickets a couple of years ago, went to a night game, and then I went to a day game a couple of weeks later, and I just love the history that Notre Dame has in the football program. Of course, the next 2 years, I wasn't able to get a ticket. Those tickets skyrocketed real quick when they got good, Chris.
Yeah, my first Notre Dame game was, I was married, so it's been a long time. I went and watched Notre Dame USC.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that was a big one.
Well, we'll get ready for this next interview with Kit Chezem. We appreciate you joining us here on the Saturday Sports Line. We start our 2025 season here right from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios. We sure do appreciate you. We also remind you to follow us on all of our social media sites to stay up to speed in your local area, on Facebook at Sports to the Max, on Instagram at WKVI Sports, and on X at KVB Sports. Now we transition to talk North Judson-San Pierre Blue Jays boys basketball with head coach Kit Chezem. Of course, we're going to see the Blue Jays tonight. They are hosting one of their cross-county rivals, the Oregon Davis Bobcats. So excited to be there for that game tonight. But since the last time we talked, Coach, we have head coach Kit Chezem in the house. It's been a tough few games here through the holiday break. Little holiday blues.
Yeah, it's been a little rough here recently for us.
Well, you had a tough loss last night, I know, against Griffith. Let's catch us up. What happened last night?
We go up to Griffith, which is a pretty long bus ride.
Right.
We were just talking about that, and played maybe the best team on our schedule so far.
Wow.
They're really good. I think they're 8-4. We're the only 1A team that they played, so they played a pretty tough schedule. Really athletic across the board. Got some really nice guards who can shoot it and break you down off the dribble, and got off to a slow start. Trying to handle their quickness and their half-court trapping, and we're down early. Came back and played really well at times. It was a 4-point game in the fourth quarter, right up until a couple minutes to go before they kind of pushed it out. Proud of the way our kids handled it, battled back. I think back to that LaVille game a couple weeks ago. It really is a disaster for us. That things started out bad and we didn't respond very well, and we just kind of laid over. We didn't see any of that last night. Our kids really battled and competed, and that's something that we can build on.
Now, you talk about LaVille. Of course, there have been some battles. We have seen you guys do very well against LaVille. Maybe talk about LaVille and what they're bringing to the table right now.
Well, they've got a nice team, and the Zarnecki kid is a really good player, and they're strong and physical, and they run the same system they always do. And I don't know if it was you talk about the holiday blues or us not being on a regular schedule, but wow, I don't know that I've ever had a team go on the road and play as poorly as we did that night. It was just, I couldn't tell you the one thing that we did well. We just didn't. And they're a nice team, but they're not 40-some points better than us at all. I felt like we had a pretty good chance of winning that game, but
sure.
It's just one of those things. We didn't show up, and sometimes we talked about it. Sometimes coaches will say, "Well, we're just going to throw that one in the trash, and we're not even going to worry about it. We're just going to move on." Well, we didn't do that. We're going to meet those struggles head on and talk about what happened and why it happened, and work on those things. And I thought we had a great week of practice this week. We were really physical. We were tough. We started to handle the ball a lot better. We talked about having a bison mentality. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but the bison, they're the only animal that will take off head into a storm.
Wow.
Like the old cattle guys,
right.
Out in the Old West, all the cows, they would huddle up and they run away from storms, and that's how they survive. Bison, they huddle up and they just run right through that storm because they know innately that if they get through that storm, then things get better quicker on the other side. And that's kind of the mentality that we've had to have this week, and we're just going to meet those challenges head on like the bison.
I tell you what, I love these coaches come in with all these analogies and all that and references to things. I learned something new every day. Every Saturday I learn something new.
Well, where'd you pick that up, Coach?
Well, actually, I was listening to my sermon on. My pastor said something about that the other day, so I kind of stole that from him and used some of my old U.S. history background on that too. So.
And let's be honest. I don't want to make excuses for anything or anybody, but you kind of wonder, with a lot of your kids and the success that they've had in football the last 4 years and the success that they've had in basketball the last 4 years, you kind of wonder if maybe mentally they're kind of like just need a break.
Yeah, I think that'd be an easy way to explain it. But at the same time, we've got a bunch of new kids.
Yeah.
We've got really 3 seniors who have played varsity basketball and were a big part of our tournament run last year. But other than that, the other 6 kids that were playing, they're all brand new to varsity basketball. And it's been a tough adjustment. When you're playing at 6 o'clock, it's different than playing at 8 o'clock.
Right.
And what you can get away with at the JV level is completely different. Weaknesses are definitely exposed. People scout. You're playing with bigger, stronger kids. If you don't have a left hand
right
at the varsity level, it gets exposed. At the JV level, you might be quick enough to just go right all night and get away with it. But we've had some growing pains. I think our younger kids are playing a lot better. We had really good minutes last night from C.J. Sanchez. He came off the bench and played great. In fact, I put him in the middle of the second quarter, and I didn't take him out, I don't think, the rest of the game. And he did a really nice job. He had a bunch of rebounds. And it was a game that, earlier in the year, he might not be able to function in because it was such a fast-paced game. But I thought he did really, really well and handling himself like we always thought he could.
Yeah, like Chris said, and like you said, no excuses. But, you did start your season a lot later than most other teams did.
Yeah, and we did. But, what was kind of frustrating here recently is that I thought we were playing pretty good. We'd won 3 in a row. Now, we didn't play that great against Knox, but boy, then we have 2, clunkers in a row.
Sure.
It makes you think, look at things a little closer. So we've had great effort in practice. I think the last 3 weeks we've had pretty good practices, and we'll continue to do that. Our kids are competitors. They didn't like losing last night, and I don't want to sit here and act like it was a moral victory because we played a really good team close. We're not into moral victories, but at the same time, I can work with what we had going on last night on the floor.
When we kind of talked about it that morning after that win against Knox, you got Josiah McDaniel back, which, he showed himself that night against Knox right off the bat. He had a very nice night. We actually awarded him our Ashley Derrickson 5-star player of the game, and you come out of injury, dealing with what he was dealing, and now he's probably trying to adjust, getting back to things into the starting lineup as well as the other starters.
Yeah, he is. He's trying to he's still not 100%, and he'll tell you that he's fine, quote, I'm fine, coach. But he's a competitor. But he's even a kid like him who's been through it all. There's a kid who hit the 2 biggest free throws of his life at the end of that regional championship game for us to win. Now he's playing in a different role. He's got to be more in a leadership role, which he's been on the football field, but he's in a leadership role in the basketball court. He's going to have the ball in his hands more. He's going to be more of a decision maker. He doesn't have to just score. Last year, he was just kind of a scorer for us. He was the kind of a guy that ended possessions for us. Now he has to handle the ball. He has to facilitate a little bit more. He gets a tougher assignment on defense. Sure. So, you're adjusting while you're not 100% physically and really not quite in basketball shape yet. But we're getting pretty close with him and feel pretty good about the way he played last night.
All right, so tonight, back at the Nest, we got Oregon Davis coming to the Nest. What do you know about the Bobcats?
Well, they are a little bit better than what you might think when you look at their record. I've watched a lot of film this week, and they got some size inside. They got some athleticism on the perimeter. It'll be a tough matchup for us. It's going to be tough because, one, we played last night. We got off the bus late, and, we didn't get it prepared for Oregon Davis all week like they've prepared for us all week. So I think that's a little bit of advantage for them, and that's just something that we're going to have to overcome. Yeah,
let's talk about Saturday. And we have talked about this, I think, before in previous seasons, but when you have a game on Saturday night, how does the day go? Do you have a walkthrough, or what do you do since you're at home?
Usually we meet about 10:30, 10 or 10:30 on a Saturday morning, and we go through a walkthrough, watch some film, might watch some film from the night before, might watch some film on our opponent for that evening, and we usually get them out of there by about noon. Last night, with the weather and the way the roads were on the way home, we backed that up, and we're just going to come in early this afternoon and do our hour and a half before the game. I wasn't sure what the roads were going to be like this morning, and they're still not great out there.
Right.
So that's the way we'll handle it today, so we're not on a regular schedule.
Sure. You still playing table tennis?
Not as much. I've kind of moved into.
You notice I said that correctly this time.
You did. I miss it, but I was traveling a lot to play. I found some pretty good people who play pickleball now. So
I've
heard
pickleball.
So
now.
pickleball is kind of like table tennis, but you're standing on the table.
Standing on the table, yeah. I've heard about some matches that have gone down at the old Judson Park. Yeah, I've heard there's been some battles.
Yeah, they got some nice courts in Judson now, and there's a group of people who play in Winamac that I enjoy playing with quite a bit too. So it's kind of a neat community, but not as much table tennis as I used to.
Well, you talk about no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you about when you talk about watching film, and I was just going to bring up the fact that with Huddle, it's absolutely amazing what you can do with that. Now, how much of that do you utilize, if I can ask?
Oh.
I mean, you're breaking down clips and annotating and everything?
Sure. So, if we're scouting, we're breaking down film, and we can show our kids all their sets. How much? I think you can overdo it.
Right.
You can give them too much information, but certainly the things that our opponent's going to do the most, or what they rely on, we're going to try to take away. So we're going to watch film on that. We're going to watch film on their personnel. Chuck Phillips is new to our staff, and he's been really, really good.
Well, if anybody should know OD, he should know OD.
Yeah, well, he should. but not. I've really relied on him this year for a lot of scouting reports. With the late start and trying to get our guys where we need to get them to, I've really relied on Chuck and his scouting reports for preparation, and he's done a really nice job. I finally found somebody that watches more film than me, I think. I think that guy, he's done a great job and been a great asset for us. So.
Yeah, you talked about Oregon Davis. Tonight's the night you inter-conference play. The next 3 games are going to be conference matchups. You mentioned what you've learned about Oregon Davis, but with what you've learned about your team the last 3 games, what do you have to see on the floor, maybe defensively or offensively tonight?
Well, for us, it starts with handling the basketball. If we can get good shots, we'll be okay. If we're turning the ball over and we're giving them, live ball turnovers that turn into scoring opportunities, it's going to be tough. We got to win on the glass. Basketball is pretty simple. We try to make it simple. The team that gets more and better shots usually wins. Now, there's a lot of ways to do that.
Right.
But that's the whole thing. You got to get more and better shots. And so, we had 28 turnovers against LaVille in a 32-minute game. Well, if someone says, well, how do you score 17 points in a game? Did you have people sick? Did you have people out? No, we had everybody. We turned it over 28 times, and we shot 16% from the field. That adds up to 17 points.
Right.
I thought we scored the ball much better last night. We got better shots against a really, really good defensive team. We still turned the ball over too many times. I think, I'm an old point guard, so I don't have a whole lot of leeway on turnovers. I can't stand them. You take care of the basketball, you got to value it. And when we do that, then I think, and we start doing that on a consistent basis, I think we'll be a pretty good team.
Yeah, after tonight's matchup with Oregon Davis, you have a few days off until next Friday, where we will see you again as you host one of your rivals, the Winamac Warriors. Of course, that game always is exciting. We remember how that one ended last year, a very interesting matchup. And then you'll see North Miami on the road next Saturday. So these 3 next games, when you talk conference play, what were kind of the goals that you had in mind when it comes to the HNAC?
Well, you always want to win it.
Right.
I mean, that's the goal, and that's everybody's goal in the HNAC. Everybody wants to win those conference games. I think winning a conference is probably tougher than winning a sectional. It's not the one that you remember. They don't put your picture on the wall. At least we don't at North Judson for winning a conference. But when you are in conference play, you're playing more teams. You got to beat everybody. So right now we've got to beat 8 teams, I think.
Yeah.
You're playing on the road. You're playing throughout the year. You don't have to just get hot like we did in 1 week. You've got to play throughout the year. You might have to overcome some injuries. Last year we finished second to last. We finished 7th in the conference last year. Then we win the regional. So that tells you how tough conference play can be. And so, it starts tonight, and next week it doesn't get any easier, and it won't. I mean, HNAC's pretty good 1A conference.
Well, we have been told, correct me if I'm wrong, only a half of JV tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, that we're only playing a half a game. I think Oregon Davis doesn't have quite the numbers tonight for whatever reason. And that's something that's kind of become common, more so maybe at the girls' level, but it does happen at the boys' level from time to time. So we're only playing half. We're still starting the game at regular time. So if you're somebody that just comes out for the varsity game, you better get there a little earlier than normal or you're going to miss the first half.
Well, we'll plan to be going live around 7 Eastern, 6 Central, roughly, for that hopeful tip around 7:30, 6:30 Central. Coach, I sure do appreciate you coming in and chatting about the Blue Jays. Excited to see you a couple times this week.
Thanks. Always enjoy coming in here.
All right, that is head coach of the North Judson-San Blue Jays. It is Kent Chezem here on the Saturday Sports Line. We're going to take a break and come back. Kenny Neilsen, head coach of the West Central Trojans Wrestling, is on the other side. Back to Croft. Ooh, close. Entry pass to Lamer, then back out. Croft pops the three. Splash! Candace Croft finally gets one to go. It's now a 5-point ball game, 11-6. The Redskins lead. Swing pass near side of the floor. It's Sadie Popejoy. She pops a three. Unconscious. Splash! Big time three. Popejoy doesn't think twice about it. If she's got the space, she's taking it.
I thought Coach Adcock was guarding her a little bit over there.
He was trying to get him out there. Gets across the timeline. Now to Maggie Keller near side of the floor. She picks up her dribble, gets rid of it. Top of the key to Candace Croft. Then back to Keller. Then back to Croft. Then back to Keller. Pops the three. Maggie Keller gets a big-time three to go. The Warriors bring it within one now, 13-12. The Redskins lead. It's the war on 35.
You know that chick that used to dance a lot? Every night she'd be on the floor shaking what she'd got. Man, when I tell you she was cool, she was red hot. I mean, she was steaming.
At First Farmers Bank and Trust, agriculture has been a cornerstone of our business for more than 135 years. Our personal relationships within the ag community run deep for multiple generations. If you're looking for a financial partner that knows, understands, and supports agriculture, I'd love to hear from you. I'm Isaac Blue, Ag Banker at First Farmers. Come into our Knox, North Judson, or Culver branches, or visit us online at ffbt.com when you're ready to talk about growing your operation. First Farmers Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
The Stark County Co-op has been a member-owned farm services co-op in Stark County since 1928. That's over 90 years, and they're still providing the same quality agronomy services to the farming community of Stark and surrounding counties. The Stark County Co-op is an LP and fuel provider. The Stark County Co-op purchases grain at both locations, Hamlet and Brems. You can reach them by phone at 1-800-782-3392.
Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi and Chris McGowan on the longest-running high school sports show in Indiana, the Saturday Sports Line.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar, with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home. Pulaski Memorial Hospital is all about community and keeping our community spotlight shining on the accomplishments of our youth. That's why PMH is proud to be a sponsor of our local high school sports action on WKVI, our community radio station. Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home.
Let's continue the conversation with area high school coaches and more on the Saturday Sports Line.
Taylor, far side of the floor, looking inside, nothing there. Now she will attack. Oh, good defense from Candace Croft. She kept her in front of her. Taylor still spinning around, trying to attack, getting in, off the glass. She gets it to go, Coach.
Nice move.
Wow.
It's just effort right there.
Stayed with it. Croft was there the whole way. Help came, but it didn't matter. We welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Line here on January February 11th, 2025. We're transitioning to talk wrestling. First time we've had a wrestling coach in this winter's season. It's head coach of the West Central Trojans, Kenny Neilsen. You know, the last time we had Kenny on the air was that week 2 battle for football season. The Culver Cavs hosting the West Central Trojans. The Trojans picked up that big win. Kenny was my color commentator that night while you, Chris, were on location for North Judson. I want to say it was at LaVille, wasn't it? Yeah, week 2 LaVille. So kind of been a minute since we last talked. Coach, how you been?
Very well, very well. You know, season's treating us well and everything. So yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I had so many positive comments about what we did there with the football game. Everybody's kind of like, well, yeah, you kind of started out like really slow. It's like, I've never done that before. I've come in and I've done these live interviews several times, but I said I've never been there where I'm like, I have to be here and I can't leave.
Yeah,
like,
you had to sit there the whole 3 hours.
Yes. and I kind of explained to him. I said, you know, I got there. You know, we thought the game started
I forgot about this.
At a later time, and all of a sudden we realized that, you know what, in 27 minutes this game's going to start, and we think it's going to be almost an hour. So he's rushing, and then it's like, oh,
we didn't really get a chance to chat at all.
No,
he just showed up. He threw on the headset, and we went.
Yeah, probably was better because the more you sit there, the more time you got to think.
Yeah. I definitely didn't have any time to overthink it, but yeah, it didn't take long to warm up to it, and it was fun. But like I said, I had a lot of positive comments. I'm like, you going to do that more? I said, well, probably not this year, but I said, you know, I'm always a game to do stuff like that. That was a lot of fun.
Well, just so you know, that was actually Chris's suggestion. You know, because you are the wrestling coach, you know, we knew a lot of wrestlers were on the football field for West Central that day.
Yeah, it was good.
We thought it was a good choice. I thought you did great, Coach. So, but now we're into the winter season. You actually have some pretty exciting news. I know you don't like to talk about yourself too much, but for as long as you've been coaching there, Coach, you finally eclipsed your 400th. You're over 400 career wins at this point as a high school wrestling head coach. I mean, how's that make you feel?
Very humbled. You know, this is my 20th year coaching. With kind of a small thing in there that I wanted to get to. You know, I don't coach for anything for myself. I just, you know, I coach for the kids. I'm there for the kids. But to get to 400 wins, you know, it's huge. It's like I kind of told you earlier, I haven't been on a wrestling mat since 1982. So, you know, these 400 wins come on the backs of many great kids. You know, a lot of help from assistant coaches, volunteer coaches, and everybody else along the way. But, you know, so yeah, sometime I'm gonna, you know, somebody's gonna be like, here's a nice little plaque. You got 400 wins. It's like, I don't own this. I wish I could cut it into tiny pieces and give it to everybody who had a hand in helping me achieve this goal of mine.
I'm sitting here. I'm just trying to wrap my head around 400 wins as a wrestling coach. Yeah. I'm thinking back. You know, Rick Snodgrass in basketball last year got his 400th win. You know, Russ Radke in football, he's been doing it for as long as I've been alive, 48 years. It's just amazing. Yeah. 400 wins in wrestling. That's impressive.
It is. You know, our season used to be a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. Our season used to be like 38 dual meets. We've kind of changed out of that. The IHSAA took back some of our ability to have more dual meets, and we've gotten into an individual tournament, so it kind of takes away some of our dual meets. We have like 26 dual meets now instead of 38, but it's still a huge accomplishment as far as I'm concerned.
It is. Yeah, it's all right to go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back every once in a while.
Well, and you know, when you come to the area, for me as an outsider, you know, you hear about the history of wrestling at West Central and the culture that you've created. So, I mean, this isn't just a fluke. It's something that you guys have been working on for a long time, not to get to 400, but just to have a program that is respected in the area. And it is. From other coaches that I've talked to, especially at Winamac, Cullen Day, other wrestling coaches we've had a chance to chat with, and Julio Cisneros at Knox, you know, they know when they're getting ready to wrestle in a meet that West Central's at, you're going to have to bring your best.
You know, It's very interesting. It's like we had a new dual meet this week with Hammond Baptist. We have wrestled them before at like a super dual tournament at Michigan City a few years ago, but we were able to pick them up. They're kind of like us. They have a lot of guys at the lower end, but not a lot of guys, and actually no guys at the higher end, and we're essentially the same. So we were able to just match up everybody. I think we each had one forfeit that we gave, and we wrestled. And I believe we won 46-10. Nice win for us. But he came over and he's like, you guys are just so tough. He's like, we've seen you before, and he's like, I just knew when we came down here it was going to be a dogfight. He said, I didn't realize, he really was like, I didn't realize just how good you guys are going to be. We do have a bit, I don't know how I'm going to put this, but the best way to put it, we have an expectation of what our guys, what I want them to be, how I want them to wrestle, and they all work hard to do that, and they all do their part. We can't have that one hot shot person who can put up 10 3-point shots in a game and make them, and carry the team for the others. One guy can go out and pin his guy, but if everybody else loses, it doesn't matter. Team doesn't win as a team. So ours is just a whole bunch of individuals doing their part, to do the best they can for the team.
Well, you talk about the season. Of course, girls wrestling has really come to fruition. But before we get to that, let's talk about this boys team that you have, some highlights, and also tell us on the coaching staff who you have with you. You still got Nate?
Yes, we still have Nate. Nate's kind of cut himself back a little bit on how much he helps out. He's there 2 days a week. Which is good. Nate has been my go-to guy on the mat coach, because as a 61-year-old guy, there's not much I can get on the mat and grab a hold of the kid and show anymore. I try not to, because it hurts just too bad. And the recovery time is much longer now. But he's in 2 days a week. When he's there, he's a ball of fire, and he's always there at the meets and stuff and in the corner for him. He does a great job. He is the backbone of our team. His brother, Brandon Williams, has been in helping me as a volunteer also. I kind of just got in a little bit on coaching Brandon. Nate, I coached through middle school and high school. His brother, I was an assistant coach for 1 year when he was wrestling as a senior. But, those guys have done a great job for us, and they've been there through and throughout all the years. As the high school boys have gone, I believe we're 11-12 as a record right now, which I to be honest, at the beginning of the season, I wasn't sure we were going to do that well.
Interesting.
It was just one of those where, like, all right, we started out with 11 guys. One guy was ineligible. I ended up having to remove the guy who was ineligible just because of just a lot of issues. So we were down to 10 guys, and we're filling at best 8 to 9 weight classes. So anytime we wrestle a bigger school, well, it's hard. We wrestled Valpo this last weekend, or a couple. Last weekend. And we took a good thumping from them, but we won a couple matches. DeKalb was another team that we saw at New Prairie, where we saw Valpo, that, it was just like, wow, they're pretty much full team. We spotted them 30 points, and we lost by 20-some points. It's just, it's hard to do with a small team, but you know what? Our guys fight hard at all times, We actually lost to Knox. I'm a little less proud than that, but that's okay. At New Prairie. But, hey, we get a chance next week to try to turn that around. But, our guys have done really well, top to bottom. Some guys don't have the best record. But you know what? You go out, you work hard, you give me 100%. I don't care, win or lose. You have my utmost respect, no matter what your athletic ability is, as long as you give me 100%.
Well, let's talk about some of the boys. Who do we need to know about on the boys' side of things in your wrestling team?
We'll just kind of go down the line by kind of like my weight class.
Yeah, please.
Cameron Noost is at 113. He's 27-1 this year. His one loss is to a young man from Rensselaer who seems to have had his number over the last 2 years. We're getting a little closer to him. We're kind of really looking forward to seeing him at sectional to see what we can do against him. To maybe kind of flip that match there. Maybe we get it to the positive side. 120 for us is Grant Peter. He's a freshman. He's had a really good season. He's 21-6 at the moment. He's had some good days. He had one weekend that he just didn't seem to be there when we were at Twin Lakes 16 invite. But
Which that happens at high school kids.
It is. You bring a 14, 15-year-old young man into a gym with 6 mats and 16 teams and everything going on. Sometimes they lose their head of like, what, I'm here to wrestle? Yes, you are here to wrestle. You got to let the rest of that go. But he's done a really good job. Very tough kid. 126 freshman Bryce Robbins. He's sitting at 500 at the moment. He's 9-9. He's a kid who's had a hard time at times to find his footing on where he needs to be as a wrestler. He missed a weight for us at Winamac Super, which kind of hurt us that day. But he has slowly progressed back to where he knows what he needs to do. He is a good wrestler, just that those freshman mistakes kind of sneak up and bite him just a little too often. Our 132 is Nate Peter. He's 22-7 at the moment.
That name.
Yep. He was a sectional champion last year. He was a guy who last year that we were going to sectionals. He's super close on weight. He comes in overweight. I'll just give you a brief glimpse to what a Saturday morning is for a wrestling coach. We get there super early. If you guys think you are over,
find the scale.
Find the scale
right away. First day. Yep.
And it's like, okay, you're overweight. Do some jogging. So he does some jogging.
Do you still do the trash bags? I always remember that at high school.
No.
You can't do that anymore?
That's illegal.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It is. Yep. But so we get to Twin Lakes, and this is sectional, and he's walking in slow. It's like, dude, you have got to hurry up. You have got to find a scale and make sure you're at weight. And he weighed in 122.0, which with our 2-pound weight allowance, that's what he could weigh, and that's what he weighed. And he almost missed, and he was a sectional champion. So he's had a really good year. 138 is Israel Williams, 23-5. That's Nate's nephew, Brandon's son. Israel's one of those. You got to have this one person on the team that just makes a coach literally insane. It's like this kid has all the talent in the world, and for some reason, at some point in every match, he decides that I'm going to forget everything and I'm going to do something completely stupid. He did a suplex on a kid last weekend. He's like, well, I tried to turn. I'm like, dude, you literally picked him up and threw him back over your head. 5-point move in freestyle, but not folk style.
Right.
It looked cool. It just didn't translate
He's watching too much Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, exactly. So 144, we have Jacoby Mills. He's a junior. He's kind of been up and down, and he doesn't have the best record. He went through a patch where he wasn't feeling too well, but we still put him on the mat just because we're covering spots. And but he's doing a fine job. Those brief moments of brilliance that as a coach that just keeps you, oh yeah, he can still do this. He can still do this. He's looking a lot better in January than he did for the better part of December, which to me, it's all important. We kind of talk about being undefeated in February. I'm sure basketball has the same thing. Once we get to state series, doesn't matter what we've done up until that point. We just want to be undefeated in February. At 150 is Ezra Rodriguez. He's a nephew to Nate and Brandon. He is 21-7. He has been our guy. He should have wrestled 144 all season. but he is our next heaviest guy. And so he has bounced from 144, 150 to 157 over the season for us. It's like we've had to tell guys, you need to, not only do you guys have to be at weight, we need you also, some of the guys, to weigh enough so that they can go up an extra weight class. So, and Ezra, like I say, he's 21-7. He has had a great season for us. His record doesn't show, but most of his losses have come at 157, where he's wrestling kids 10 pounds bigger than him, and he's just a sophomore. And he's done a great job for us, and never complain. He just knows his spot in the team.
Yeah, put me in that spot where I don't have to worry about what I'm eating. I'm just gonna go ahead and wrestle up. I can eat what I want. I mean, when I used to coach football, I had a couple talks with some kids. I moved them from a skill position. Hey, you're gonna play line for me. I don't want to play line. Well, think of it this way: you get to eat whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yes, and please do. Yes.
Yeah.
And please do.
And then lastly, our lone senior, Christian Lupnitz. He doesn't have a good record. He is a kid who shows up every day, works hard, smile on his face. He's a goofball. We call him Loopy just because he is loopy. But, he shows up every day. And like I said, he works so hard. But he's just not an athlete. But like I say, I don't care what your record is for me. You just give me what you have, and I'm happy. So we're pretty much essentially, we have two dual meets. We've got Knox and North Judson, but a week from today we'll be at Midwest Conference at Tri-County, which we're looking really forward to. I had to have that little talk with them yesterday. It's like, guys, we're not out of the ability to win conference. In our conference, there is not one team that is super strong. I think that some of the other teams will kind of cancel each other out in other places, and we might be able to sneak in there, but we have to have a super day that day.
Sure. So we talk about the boys team. Now let's transition to the girls, which I know that's a new thing. You kind of were ahead of the curve there before teams in the area started to have girls wrestlers. Now you hear, is this the second year you've had girls wrestling?
Well, this is the first official year for West Central to have girls wrestling.
But you had some girls wrestlers last year, one of which was our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week.
Yes, Tia was, yes.
Tia Peter, yes.
Yep. In, I believe it was early October, I went to the school board. We had a call-out meeting, and we had like 8 or 9 girls show up to the call-out meeting. And it's like,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's like, there is no way we're going to be able to do this as we have done this in the past. Last year's season, Nate was the girls' coach. When they went to like sectional, semi-state, state, he just peeled off and he went. Well, this year with that many, and then their season starts considerably earlier, it pretty much mirrors the girls' basketball season. It wasn't going to work for us to be able to do that. So I went to the school board and I said, hey, we have all this interest. We're going to need to hire, girls coaches for this season because there's just no way we can do this. And they're just like, well, hey, sure, fine. They're like, do you have a name? It's like, well, I hadn't talked to the lady who took the job, Shannon Fritz, beforehand. So it's like, well, yeah, okay, maybe no, I don't really know. I do know who I want to do it, but I'm not going to say because I hadn't talked to her.
You wanted to make sure.
Yes. So one of the school board members kind of catches me as I'm leaving, and he's like, Shannon would be a great choice for that. And I said, well, Shannon is my choice for that. I just didn't want to say it because I hadn't asked her, because I just wasn't really expecting you guys to be like, yeah, hey, sure, let's just go ahead and do this.
Do it, yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Put her on the spot.
Yeah. But she took the job. Her and her husband are Shannon's the head coach. And
which we remember the Fritz boys.
Yes, everybody remembers the Fritzes, yep. So Shannon and Jamie, Shannon's the head coach, Jamie's the assistant coach, and they've done a great job, We have 7 girls that ended up wrestling the season, which was way more than I had ever assumed we would get.
Wow.
we went to, I went to a few of the girls' events. I couldn't go to all of them, but, a lot of schools had a lot less than what we did. And I was like, this is a super positive thing for us because, I see those numbers right away. I'm like, hey, this is great. And I just think they'll get bigger and better. They've been through sectional and regional already. They wrestled regional yesterday at Goshen. Tia Peter is a senior. She lost a close 2-0 match in the ticket round match. So she's not going to go on to state. I think everybody has this assumption that, you make it to state one year. Well, of course you're going to make it again next year.
It's not always the case.
It doesn't work that way, and she was so close. She had a really tough match at sectionals where some question, I hate to use this as a coach, questionable calls that kind of put a damper on that match that she probably could have won. That would have put her maybe in a better place. She had a tough, second round match, ticket round match, but she lost 2-0. Which is a heartbreaker. I'd really like to have seen her, make it to the first IHSAA state finals. But we had another lady, Contessa Wireman. She was at 115. She lost in the first round. Our heavyweight, Chloe Oxier, 235. She pinned her first 3 ladies of the day in the first period.
Wow. To
put herself into the finals. So she is a state qualifier at this point.
Good for her.
So she ended up, and she lost, I believe it was 7-2 in the finals match, a very tough finals match. So she's going on next weekend, next Friday, actually, to the state tournament, the first IHSAA girls state tournament.
That's great.
At the state fairgrounds at the Cortiva Coliseum. I can't wait. I'm just so excited for her.
Is that the old Pepsi Coliseum?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah, that was where the Indiana Ice used to play.
Right.
Back in the day, and the ABA, the Pacers used to play there. Well, we're getting off topic anyway. But anyway, so who else is on the girls' team, or is that it?
Well, we'll just go on down the line. We talked about Tia. Tia had a great season. She was 20-2 as a record. She had a loss last week at sectionals in the finals, and then she lost in ticket round. Otherwise, she was undefeated going in. She'd had a good season. Chloe is 16-7. We had Madeline Muston, who she was had a 4-3 record. She's actually a San Pierre person who comes to our school.
Don't say that too loud.
I know. Bryn Randolph was 12-6. Audrey Rodriguez was 12-7. Hannah Salyer, who kind of came out late, was 4-7, and Contessa was 10-10. But for an inaugural season,
that's amazing.
I'm just beyond happy for those girls.
Good. Well, and then you also have something going in the middle school too. I mean, you guys are, like we talked about, it's a culture. You're building it from the ground up all the way to the middle school. Talk about some middle school information that you can share with us there as they're building up for the future Trojans.
Well, the middle school just got started this last week. We have a new coach. Jamie Fritz had been the middle school coach. And when the girls thing opened it up, it's like, I can't do both. So Brandon Stevens, which is, I coached him all the way through. He's a new teacher at the school, just, graduated college. So he stepped into that role. He had to call out. He had 40-some kids who came to call out. And he's been averaging right at about 24 kids without the basketball kids at practices right now this week, which is just huge. It's to me, I was always like, if I had 15 to 18, that was enough. That's all I wanted to handle. But, he's got a couple guys helping him. Brad Warner, who's the dad, and Brandon Williams, his son, has a son who wrestles on there also. But, their season will get kicked off here early in February against KV. But the junior high thing, I am just so pleased to see that. I coached junior high for probably 20 some years, probably 20 years. And I loved it and hated it at the same time. when you do both junior high and varsity, you just kind of like, oh my goodness, I just showed this move yesterday and you can't remember it. And then I had to remember, well, sometimes the varsity guys are that way too.
Right. I tell you what, I coached wrestling about 25 years ago at Judson. I was a basketball guy, and the respect that I found for those guys was just amazing, and what they put their bodies through.
Yeah,
it's just like I said, a newfound respect back there. Like I said, 25 years ago, and if you wrestled in the one back then it was 152, from 152 to 215. You had to be a man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was just amazing. Some of the athletes and just, the strength. And like I said, it was a newfound respect for me. And, I love going to watch wrestling meets. It's fun. It's exciting. And it's just something I'll never forget.
Explain Club Kids.
Club Kids are essentially... A couple years ago, we kind of changed up how we do club. Matt Fritz had always ran it, Hayden and Drake's dad. We kind of changed up that it just got folded over into essentially what is the West Central Youth League. All the baseball and all that stuff, it is handled through them now. So it's essentially now kindergarten through middle school at the club. And they average around 20-some, 22, 23 kids in there also, which another former wrestler of mine, Cameron Owens, coaches it. Lance Hausinger, he's my niece's husband, and I helped coach him a little bit as an assistant. And Scott Federer, his wife, kind of runs the West Central Youth League, and he has boys there. They're coaching it, and they're doing a great job. We actually, this past Monday, had like a little friendship meet with the Pioneer youth kids. So they came over, we put the mat out in the big gym and ran the kids out there and wrestled them. It's just a blast to watch, those little kids. I got a little great nephew, Cameron Hausinger. I don't know, he may weigh 45, maybe 50 pounds. He's just a little thing. It's just a blast to watch those little kids out there, and I throw down, like I like to say. It's kind of like controlled falling more than anything, but but it is just so it's so fun to watch those little kids get out there and get their start.
Well, Coach, it's always an honor to talk to you. I appreciate you coming all the way up here. I know the weather is the way it is right now, northern Indiana, but really, congratulations on your milestone, 400 career wins as a high school wrestling head coach. That's quite impressive, and it's always an honor to talk to you and have you on the air. Like we said, that week 2, that was a lot of fun there, seeing the Trojans go up against the Cavs in the football field, and just always an honor to talk to you, Coach. I appreciate you coming in.
Hey, well, thank you. And I always appreciate your time because you know what? I get to sell my program to so many more people when I get to come do these things. And, it's a huge thank you for me to be able to come and do this also.
You got to go out and support the Trojans. Come visit them. Come watch them wrestle.
Yes. Actually, this next Thursday, the 16th, come on out.
Come on out. All right, that is head coach of the West Central Trojans wrestling team. It's Kenny Neilsen here on the Saturday Sports Line. We appreciate him and his time. We're going to take a break and come back. We are going to talk Oregon Davis girls basketball with head coach Aubrey Lady. She's up next. Here's Riley Taylor inside to Presley Messer. Back out near corner. Swinger Nava fakes 3. Drives inside. Kicks it back out. Rylan Jordan for 3. Big shot. Rylan Jordan. 29-26. Back to a 3-point ball game.
At Cliff Farmer Bank and Trust, agriculture has been a cornerstone of our business for more than 135 years. Our personal relationships within the ag community run deep for multiple generations. If you're looking for a financial partner that knows, understands, and supports agriculture, I'd love to hear from you. I'm Isaac Blue, ag banker at First Farmers. Come into our Knox, North Judson, or Culver branches, or visit us online at ffbt.com when you're ready to talk about growing your operation. First Farmers Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
One of our hometown businesses here in our area in Monterey, it's LAP Waste.
Being able to recycle is one of our main goals at LAP Waste. Being able to say that we only take about 8% of our trash to the dump is pretty impressive for us, and we hope to keep building on that.
We service an 80-mile circle from Monterey. If you have a small job, big job, or just have a one-time, we are here to make a difference in this area.
And that phone number, Kirby?
574-542-4019.
It's hard to believe, but time sure does fly by. Collins Insurance Agency in downtown Knox are celebrating over 30 years of taking care of all of your insurance needs in our communities.
If I could turn back time.
And we're not going anywhere.
Stop in and see Jim and the crew at Collins Insurance Agency in downtown Knox.
Insurance you can count on from a business you've trusted since 1989.
Proud presidential partners of Western Reserve.
Listen for more insight in local high school sports on the Saturday Sports Line. Here's your sports director, Mitch Columbi.
And we are back here from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios. This is the Saturday Sports Line. It's time to talk a little Oregon Davis Lady Cat basketball, and we have head coach of the Lady Cats on the line. It's Aubrey Lady. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good.
Well, not much has happened since we last talked. You've had 3 games, 2 big wins out of those 3 games after the holiday break. First off, how was holiday break for you, Coach? Did you have a nice time with the family?
It was good. It's good to, watch the kids get their presents and spend time with family. So not only my kids, but the girls. So it's always a good little break.
Yeah, the last time we talked was December 14th. You had that game against Westville on the 16th postponed. Unfortunately, won't be able to get that game made up, but it's not a conference game, so it doesn't matter. You were able to have all that time through Christmas break to get ready for North Miami, a conference opponent, and you guys, from what it looked like, fought hard. A tough loss, though, 59-52. Talk about that January 3rd matchup with North Miami.
Obviously, we hadn't played a game in almost a month, so you could tell in the first half it was a little bit of getting back into the groove of things, but once we got to the second half, we did cut the lead. Actually, we tied the game up. We just couldn't last through the entire game. We had girls that went in, stepped up, and did the things that we needed them to do. We actually knocked down some free throws big towards the end, but like I said, some of it came down to situational things and understanding what to do in different instances towards the end of the game, and fouling and pressure defense, and when to get up and when to stay back. But it was a good learning experience for our girls, and unfortunately it was a conference game that we lost, but we did learn a lot from it, and it carried over into the next 2 games that we had after that.
Yeah, and the last time we talked over close to a month ago, you were dealing with some injuries. The injury bug kind of hit you. I know Sarah Thompson was dealing with an injury, and also Jayla Patrick. Catch us up if you can, what you know about those injuries.
Sarah's back, so that was her first game back, so she was getting into the groove of things, and we're hoping that Jayla can come back this next week and get in there and help us out. Obviously, 2 veterans that have a lot of experience and do a lot for us, so having them on the floor, not only helps us numbers-wise, but just gives the girls a little bit of sense of ease and like a security blanket, kind of, just to have them out there and their understanding of the game and what to do.
Yeah, and during that time frame, I can only assume players getting the opportunity to step up, Gabby Krause being one of them, one of the main leaders on this team. Now she has experience leading this team without 2 other key pieces. How much of a positive is that for you as a head coach?
It's good. She's the point guard, so she's the coach on the floor, and at times that, we're asking a lot out of her, but we wouldn't ask it if we didn't know that she was capable of doing it, and she does everything she can to get the job done. From having to run the game on the floor and make sure people are in their spots, having 4 freshmen in with her, it can get tough at times, but she never puts her head down. She always continues to keep working, which is exactly what you need out of your leader on the floor.
Now, you talked about Sarah Thompson a little bit. I can only assume she is still doing quite well, averaging close to a double-double.
Yes, she's doing okay. Obviously, being off for what would it be about 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Coming back from that is a little much to do, but she came in and the next game and she gave us what we needed, and getting up and down the floor and being a threat and causing teams to guard her, which is a big thing for us if we can have them focus more on her as opposed to some of the other players. So we're looking for her to continue to do that. We need her to get to the free throw line a little bit more because she's our best free throw shooter. But all in all, she's come back and she's ready to go to finish out her junior year and get to where we want to be come tournament time.
Yeah, we talked about this next game this past week at our game, Winamac versus the Knox Lady Redskins. We had brought up the big win at home in the Bobcat Den against the Tri-Township Lady Tigers, 52-50. And you think about it, the Tri-Township Lady Tigers, they've been tested. They've been battle-tested as well. They've got a very good player in Jayde Pryor, who is a 1,000-point scorer. Talk about how big of a win and confidence boost that is for your team, beating a good Tri-Township squad.
We go into every game and, we try to tell the kids, you play the game for a reason. Just because on paper it says that you're supposed to come out on the other end doesn't mean that's how it's going to end up. And we have to go in and do what we know how to do and play our game and take care of what we want to do. Obviously, we had time to prepare for them over break as well as North Miami. And so we worked on our defense that we were focusing on in order to be successful, and they keyed into it and made sure they were doing exactly what we needed to do. But for the girls, after that game, they had smiles on their faces, and they got back to the Lady Cat basketball way of getting up and down the floor and having fun with it.
Man, a 2-point win, Coach. It must have been pretty exciting there towards the end.
Exciting, yeah. We were up by I think 7 or so with a minute and 52 seconds to go.
So they made a run.
It got down to the nitty gritty, but our girls stepped up. We had freshmen in that actually the one girl could have had a charge called at the end of the game there, and stood there and took it. And they're doing the things that we're asking them to do. And the good thing is we still have a little bit more time to work on those things before tournament comes.
Yeah, you move on and beat Triton on the 8th just a few days ago. That's on the road. It's a conference opponent. You win that game by 4, 48-44. That had to feel good as well.
Absolutely. It was our first conference win. Obviously, we haven't been in a conference for a while, so I don't think the girls quite understood what that meant for them as far as the tournament atmosphere. When you go to Triton, it's always tough to play there anyways, but they're also a sectional opponent, and being able to go in. We didn't shoot very well from the line, which we've been working on since, but going in there and sticking it out, we came out pretty flat the first half. I think only having like 13 or 15 points in the first half, but then we came in strong in the second half and turned it around. And again, we had some freshmen step up with some big plays. And, Eva Young was one of them that came in and she got her hand on some balls that I'm not exactly sure how she even got there, but she came flying through the lane and was able to get us the rebound to go the other direction. But we're still learning, but hopefully we're getting those things fine-tuned by the time February comes around and we're ready to go.
You have Pioneer on the schedule tonight. I know that's what you've been preparing for. Another road game. You're in the middle of a 3-game road stretch right now. Another conference opponent in Pioneer. What have you been preparing for in terms of tonight?
We're going to make sure that we're still doing what Lady Cat basketball is about, pressing, getting up and down the floor, run our break, make sure that we're picking each other up. We like to try to win the boards as much as we can, even though our tallest player is 5'8". I tell them, getting a rebound is more about heart than it is about your size. And at times we have some of our smaller girls being the leading rebounders, but as long as we are doing what we've been working on over break, I think we'll be fine. But obviously we have to come out and get the job done. Again, it's not what's done on paper, but what we do when we show up and we show out.
Yeah, I just realized I misspoke. That game is actually here in a little bit, 11:30 a.m. Central tip-off time. Kind of nice having a midday game on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll let you know about that one. We'll see if the girls are awake or not. But no, I think we'll be all right. It'll be a little bit of a trip down there, so that'll wake them up. They can talk and discuss on the game plan and get ready for it.
Yeah, I know your mind's on Pioneer right now. We look forward. You'll see South Central on the road this upcoming week. Then you'll host Argus and Winamac. And then becomes the big question, the Everwise Bi-County Tournament. You guys have been a part of that for several years now. I don't know how many, but I know that is we've talked about it before, Coach. That is a big key point in the season leading right into sectionals. From what I remember you telling me, it's a great gauge and also preparing for that sectional that you've been talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, for our freshmen, it'll be big for them. They'll be able to get that tournament-like atmosphere. It's intense. People come in from all over because it's the Bi-County, not just people from the schools that are involved. But it's just fun to kind of go in there and compete with people who are in our area, all going for the same thing. Usually it's always a eventful winter weather week, but that's Northern Indiana for you. So, we're excited. We're hoping that the freshmen are able to get in there, Aaron and Trinity and Maddie, and even get a little bit of taste of how it's going to be in, 2 weeks from then. And that way, once we do get to sectional time, they're not going to be as shell-shocked, going and competing against seniors who it could be their last game. So it does help us out a lot coming down the road, and hopefully we can go in there and get a win.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing, you drew Bremen first. Is that correct?
We did, yes.
So you will see the Lady Lions of Bremen, a very interesting matchup there. I haven't had to learn too much about Bremen at this point in time, but that should be a good matchup for you girls. And then also you'll finish off the season at Mishawaka Marion. And then, like you said, February time is sectional time. Let's talk about the goals. You had talked about it at the beginning of the season. Have the goals changed? Have you amped them up any? What at this point in time do you want to see happen for your girls here at the latter portion of the season?
Obviously our goal hasn't changed. We want to get a sectional championship. I think we are capable of doing that. It all depends on if how we show up and play the game. We got to be able to knock down free throws. We've got to be able to run the floor, and do the things that we know how to do. I do think our injuries have helped us along the way, because we have had those freshmen that have gone in and they don't get a choice as far as if they're going to get the experience or not. And they don't have to do that in a sectional game. So I do think that helps us. The girls come in every day and they work hard. They ask questions. They're learning, and we're learning with them as far as, how to coach them and what's going to get them to click and what's going to get them to go. And, hopefully we can come out with a win. We're actually going to be at home for the first time in a while for our sectional. So hopefully we can get it taken care of in the den.
When I look back at your first year coaching, Coach, since that time, you just can see the growth with this team, and of course what you guys are doing, your coaching staff. You're getting better each year. Have you been able to feel that or see the progress? I know the last couple of years we've talked, it didn't go the way that you had hoped, but you are getting better each year that you've been there coaching.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you see the girls that have come in, and, Ashley Laster coming in from when she was a freshman and now it's night and day different. She's being aggressive and she's doing what we need her to do down low, even though she's 5'6". And to see the juniors kind of evolve over the years, they were always a decent class, but they've kind of grown up a little bit and they've gotten a little more mature and are able to, take things in stride and not get too anxious or nervous about different things in different situations. Lucky for us, these freshmen are coming in and watching these girls ahead of them and have good role models for them to watch. So, it's always fun seeing them as they grow, and not only on the basketball court, but, just in everyday life, just watching them interact with people and how they're more outgoing and they're able to stand there and talk to younger kids, and the ones that look up to them that are coming up and giving them a hug or a high five after the game. It's just kind of neat, just seeing them, as a person in general, and being able to watch that from a coaching standpoint. I always say I think of all the kids as my own, and there's not a single kid on my team that I wouldn't want my kids to grow up to be like.
That's awesome, Coach. Well, as always, I sure do appreciate your time. It won't be the last time we talk. Of course, a lot of goals here we've got to accomplish, so we want to help you get there and make them happen, Coach. Thanks so much for your time. Good luck today against Pioneer on the road here in a little bit. I'll let you get back to the team.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everything you do for us, Mitch.
Absolutely. Okay, that is head coach of the Oregon Davis Lady Cats. It's Aubrey Lady here on the Saturday Sports Line. We're taking a break. Athlete of the Week interview with Hunter Clemons of Knox Community High School is on the other side.
Might give a damn. Are on vacation, and I got this one boy.
There's a trend happening around the educational world. More and more high school graduates are attending smaller community colleges to start their educational journey. At Marian University's Ancilla College, we welcome students from all walks of life. The opportunities at Marian University are endless, from living on campus to being a collegiate student-athlete. From day one, your professors will help you create a plan for a success at Marian and beyond. Find out more about Marian University's Ancilla College through our website at marian.edu/Ancilla today.
It's time now for Hour 2 of the Saturday Sports Line with your host, Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI Sports Director, Mitch Columbi, and sports analyst, Chris McGowan.
We are back for more from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios. This is the longest running high school sports show in Indiana, the Saturday Sports Line. It's time to talk about our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week, where we last had our final show of the 2024 year. We announced on Saturday, December 21st, our Athlete of the Week is Knox wrestler Hunter Clemons. Hunter is in his junior year at Knox. He had a big win against his rival of North Judson-San Pierre that past week. After bumping up a weight class at that time, he sat at 6-2 on the season, wrestling very, very well. Without further ado, here's my sit-down interview with Knox Community High School junior Hunter Clemons. I am with our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week. It's Hunter Clemons. Talk to us about that meet against North Judson and why it was so important.
Well, at that meet in North Judson, I was supposed to be wrestling 126 for my varsity because that's my varsity weight class. But in order for everyone to get a match at that meet, we made sure that I bumped up a weight class and the person below me bumped up a weight class. And I wrestled 132 that night for varsity and JV. And I beat my opponent I beat last year for the weight class I wrestled last year as well. And then I also beat the other JV kid.
And talk about the sport of wrestling. What is it about this sport that you enjoy?
I mostly enjoy the thrill of it, and mostly how it's not just on your team, it's more on you yourself in order to get the win, because it's all about yourself and not just about the team. And so you kind of have to depend on yourself for the win and all that.
Yeah. And you brought up the team. Let's talk about some of the members on this team. Who else do you think we need to know about on this wrestling team at Knox?
I think my buddy Nathan Sawyer, he's doing a great job this year, keeping his weight class. He's also done a real good job on the mat. I'm not sure what his record is, but he's been doing really good. I also want to thank Noah Bolin too. He did really good this year, but sadly he broke his fibula at our second most recent tournament against Jimtown.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Let's talk about the coaching staff. You know, we know head coach Julio Cisneros from the football. We've talked from the football season. We've talked with him, of course, about wrestling in years prior. Talk about the coaching staff, maybe also a little bit about Julio Cisneros you appreciate.
Julio, he's been a pretty good wrestling coach for us. He was our main wrestling coach 2 years ago, and now we've he's been coaching more of the girls, but he also coaches us quite a bit. And I want to thank Ronald Winzak. He's our other coach, and he's doing a great job as well.
Tell us your parents' names.
My mom's name is Amber Clemons, and my dad is Jason Clemons.
And talk about the support system they've been for you.
They've been supporting me since day one. My mom always keeps track of my grades. She makes sure I'm a straight A student and I'm on high honor roll.
Wow, good for you.
And my dad, he's always been there for me. He's always tried supporting me in my career. He's supported me so much. Mostly supported me in wrestling a lot and my grades, mostly.
Yeah.
Because, of course, you have to have good grades in order to wrestle.
Right. Well, let's catch us up. When we gave this award to you right before the holiday break, like we had said, you were 6-2. You were just coming off that win over your rival in North Judson. What has happened since that time over the holiday break? Catch us up.
We've had 2 tournaments, I believe. My most recent tournament, I actually went 4-2. That was against Valpo, West Central. We actually had 10 teams there. I couldn't name them all for you. But we went against 6 of them, and I ended up taking 3rd, I believe.
Good for you. So is there a goal you have in mind here at the end of the season as you get to tournament time? What's your goal right now, Hunter?
My goal is to at least make it out of sectionals. I don't know what's exactly going to happen, but all I can do is hope for the best, and I'm just hoping the best, and I just want to make my parents proud.
Well, Hunter, I sure do appreciate your time today. Congratulations on being named one of our Tyler Roth WKVI Athletes of the Week.
Thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate Hunter for his time. Also, big-time shout-out to Athletic Director Neil Minix for helping me set that interview up as we are going to take a break. More sports talk coming your way. Don't go anywhere. This is the Saturday Sports Line.
The Stark County Co-op has been a member-owned farm services co-op in Stark County since 1928. That's over 90 years, and they're still providing the same quality agronomy services to the farming community of Stark and surrounding counties. The Stark County Co-op is an LP and fuel provider. The Stark County Co-op purchases grain at both locations, Hamlet and Browns. You can reach them by phone at 1-800-782-3392, the Stark County Co-op.
Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay. Maybe just one little pour shot. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
There's a trend happening around the educational world. More and more high school graduates are attending smaller community colleges to start their educational journey. At Marian University's Ancilla College, we welcome students from all walks of life. The opportunities at Marian University are endless, from living on campus to being a collegiate student-athlete. From day one, your professors will help you create a plan for a success at Marian and beyond. Find out more about Marian University's Ancilla College through our website at marian.edu/Ancilla today.
Now let's return to more of the Saturday Sports Line with WKVI Sports Director Mitch Columbi.
Croft taking on Riley Taylor. The Redskins staying in that man-to-man as they started here in the third. Croft will pop a three. Far corner splash. 27-23. 4-point lead now for the Warriors, and then Croft will steal it back. They tried to find Rylan Jordan in the near corner, and she read the passing lane well, and here comes Croft. Back from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios, this is the Saturday Sports Line. Mitch Columbi along with sports analyst Chris McGowan. A quick little blurb I wanted to put out there. I got a text from Julio Cisneros, head coach of the Knox Redskins wrestling team. He has informed me, Chris, that Katie Snyder from Knox just qualified for the IHSAA First State Finals in girls wrestling. So I wanted to make sure and give a big-time congratulations to Katie Snyder here on the air.
Yeah, so 2 local girls, and if we have any more, send them our way.
Let us know.
You got to help us out here with the information. Don't be afraid to share it. That way we can share it online or share it over the air.
Yeah, as well. So a shout out to Julio Cisneros for making me aware of Katie Snyder today. And then, of course, we heard from West Central Wrestling head coach Kenny Neilsen about their young lady heading to the first ever state final tournament for girls wrestling. Congratulations to those 2 individuals. But now we will transition to talk Winamac boys basketball with head coach Mike Springer. I've got him on the line. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good, Mitch. Good. You guys do a great job here for the community, Stark County, Pulaski County. Who knows? You may even get up into Lake County, LaPorte County.
We definitely get into LaPorte.
We do get into LaPorte County, but thank you, Coach. It means a lot.
Marshall.
And Marshall. We do cover in Marshall as well. Yep. So I sure do appreciate you hopping on here, Coach. Of course, we saw each other just this past Tuesday. The Winamac Lady Warriors had a good win, but you guys watching practice, it's a very intense practice. One of my favorite drills is 11-man, and I loved watching that the other day. But since the last time we talked, you had that big win here in Knox. We saw the War on 35, 56-35 was the final. You followed that up on December 13th for your first conference matchup of the year, beating Argus 61-34. Then follow that up with another conference win over Culver, 54-26. And, you've really had a very good stretch of games, maybe a couple losses I'm sure you'd like to have back. But catch us up since December 10th against Knox, what you and your team have been working on.
Yeah, we were able to get 2 conference wins there against Argus and Culver, and the kids were playing well. Probably the best thing I took away from those games was the fact that our kids were playing so hard on the defensive end. We had kids getting after loose balls on the floor, just making it real hard for those teams to get the thing in the basket and get the ball where they want it to go. And, we ran into a tough Triton team. We played well early. We just not sure really what happened in the second half. I don't know if it was them. I think it was more of us. We just lost focus and concentration, and that was a tough loss for us. It hurt our kids because we felt like that was the game we needed to play well and compete in. But we bounced back in the Indiana Kitchen Classic. That tournament was played at Delphi there over Christmas break, and we started out with a Frankfurt team that had been struggling on the year and hadn't won a game yet, and but they had been getting a lot better. You could tell by the scores. The game before they played us, they played a really good Sheridan team to 10 points. And then we went in there and we got an early lead, and we felt like we were in control of that game throughout, and it was a 7-point halftime lead, and then the second half. I'm telling you, I've never seen 3-pointers get thrown in by an opponent like Frankfurt did. They threw some shots in, and we had guys with hands in their face, and guys that don't normally shoot them for Frankfurt were shooting them and going in, and it was like, holy Toledo, here it goes. But we were able to solidify the win in the last quarter. It was we were up, and we missed a couple free throws late that cut the score down. They finished some shots, but 61-59 game that day, and I just felt like we had really good balanced play that day. Will Malco ended up with 18, and Justin Potoff had 17 that night, and the Hines boys were Javen had 9 and Brendan had 8 for us, but we had good play. We had good play off the bench from Parker Zyder, Alex Haig, and Braden Mathias that day, and it was just a positive win, hard-fought win on the Hot Dogs home court there at Case Arena. Ethan Burgess did a great job for us that night as well, pulled in 6 rebounds for us. And then we had Rossville, and Rossville's a quality opponent, and boy, we got off to a poor start, and we fought, and it ended up being a 10-point game. And we had 3 guys in double figures that night with Malco, Hines, and Potoff scoring, and we played a good game, but defensively we let them get some shots without a hand in the face, and that was really the difference in that game. We had some uncharacteristic turnovers, and we were able to cut the lead down late, but they ended up going away with a 10-point win. And that one, I think our guys were disappointed just because we turned the ball over too many times in that game. And we committed some silly fouls, but they were playing hard. The kids were playing hard. They're playing together. They got each other's back, and we played Delphi then on a week ago today in the tournament for, I think it was 3rd and 4th place, and it was a really hard fought contest, and it was one where late in the game, I think we were ahead. We were ahead with most of the 4th quarter, and then we missed free throws, and we missed an open set play jump shot, and at that point, when we needed a foul, the Oracles were able to make their free throws, and they walked away with a 6-point win over us, and our kids were really disappointed because that was a game we led the entire second half, and things just didn't go our way at the end. And we talked a lot about what we needed to do different, what we needed to do better coming into this week against a North Miami team that had a lot of returners. All their returners from last year. They gave us a really good game in the sectional. They had a kid named Riley that ended up with 29 points against us in the sectional last year. I think he has an aunt who was an Indiana All-Star, lady by the name of Ruth Riley, who had a great high school career, then played at Notre Dame back in the day. And anyways, this kid, he's been on fire this year for them, and we knew that we had to keep him in check, but they had some other guys that played really well against us last year, and we'd scouted them, and we felt like we had a good game plan. The kids understood that defensively we really needed to cut off some drives to the basket and help each other out and switch on some ball screens. And, it was a really quality win for us last night. The scoreboard would show that, it was a 3 or a 4-point win, but, we were up, I think at the beginning of the 4th quarter, we were up 13, and I do not know what happened. Last night it happened again that North Miami team, they hit 5 threes in the third quarter or in the fourth quarter. I mean, they were throwing from 2 steps beyond the 3-point line, and we got to figure that out. They had only shot I think they'd only shot 4 threes up to that point. So we had them really well defensed. I felt like I said, at the end of 3 quarters, it was 37-24, and they put 27 on us. But probably one of the best things that happened was Brendan Hines was really active, and he was 9 out of 10 from the free throw line.
Good.
In the fourth quarter. We really worked hard to get him the ball because they were scoring and pressing and fouling, and he was able to put the ball in the basket for us. Again, we were trading 2s for 3s, but the kids fought hard. Justin Potoff had a good game attacking the rim. He finished with 17. Brendan finished with 18. We had Will Malco come in with 8, and he had 7 boards on the night. And we had Ethan Burgess, who did a great job for us. They ended up picking up 3 charges on the evening. Him and Will and some of the other guys ended up with 3 or 4 floor burns. So the guys were really active. They were really active, and we had good bench play from Braden Mathias again. Parker Zeider got him a basket as well during the time, and Alex Hague, he always gives us some solid defense there in the post area, but we were able to only let the Riley kid get 20 on us, and most of those were in the fourth quarter. And I was really proud of our kids because we had a good game plan. The kids executed it well, especially on the defensive end. It wasn't a real high-scoring game until the last quarter, but we picked them apart in their zone slowly, and I was really pleased with how the kids moved the ball, found the open man around the basket there in the second half, and I felt like we kept our composure when they were going crazy trying to foul us and press us, and it was a good quality win, even though the scoreboard showed that it was a close game. But I was proud of our kids. We had 9 fouls, only 9 fouls on the night. We had 8 steals, 9 deflections, and we had 15 assists. And I think whenever you can do that out of our 20 makes, again, the guys were finding the open man, and that really is a good thing for us.
Yeah, you're looking at the schedule, Coach. You mentioned that win last night over North Miami. Of course, that's a conference opponent. As of now, in the Hoosier North Athletic Conference, you're right there, 3-1 towards the top of the conference. You got to be happy where your team's at in terms of the conference.
Exactly, we are. And it's important to keep that focus on the conference, and the kids want that. That's something that they talked about in the preseason, that we wanted to win the conference, but we got some people coming up that are going to be backyard brawl, so to speak, with North Judson and Caston and Pioneer, just to name a few of them. So they're going to be tough ball games, and we're going to have it tight, our focus and concentration, and I think our kids are are in a good spot. We're going to get some practice in here this morning. Hopefully the roads in the out in the county are cleared off enough so that our kids aren't slipping and sliding in here. But we got a tough Northfield team coming in on or going to their place on Tuesday. A much improved team that they've had kids that have played as freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, and now they're seniors, and they're battle tested, and they've had a nice season so far, and we're going to have to play well on the road there on Tuesday night to be ready to come home with a dub.
All right, Coach, I don't know if I'll get you to admit this on the air, but you talked about that Delphi loss leading pretty much the entire game and it leaving a bad taste in your mouth. Have you circled January 25th on the calendar?
Well, that one will be in our kids' mind for sure. For myself, I think that what I want to see, and I'm not trying to dodge the question, but I just want to see us getting better every night.
Right.
And if we keep that focus, then that game's going to be a big one. We got some big games coming up. And like I said, Northfield's a good team. We got Judson coming up, and OD, and those are games that if you go to the grocery store in Knox, or you go towards Clemons and get something to eat, you might see a OD letter jacket or a North Judson letter jacket in Knox, or even in Winamac, and those we got some kids that live on the north side of our school district, and they could probably drive closer to North Judson than it is to Winamac, but those are big games for us as well, and every and it's kind of a thing. Everything's a big game, Some are bigger than others, obviously, but you want to have that focus and that concentration ready for every contest that you play. But I'm sure that that taste will be there for that game.
Right. Well, I wasn't expecting an outright yes, but I've done,
get the gist.
I've done this long enough and been head coach long enough that, deep down, I'm circling it if I'm coaching. But, I get what you're saying.
It's actually an interesting point of your season right now, Coach. You're about to hit a 4-game road stretch after the Northfield game. We will actually see you in the nest at North Judson this coming Friday. Then we will see you next Saturday at Oregon Davis. So we're going to be seeing the Warriors here shortly. One question I did have from something you had mentioned earlier was you got that win at Frankfort and Case Arena. I have never been to Case Arena, but I hear the stories, and I just was recently told that was the arena featured in the movie Blue Chips, which I love Blue Chips. I had no idea.
I can't believe this guy's grown up in Indiana. I didn't know that Blue Chips was filmed there.
I had no idea. Well, it came out in '94. I was 2 years old. Give me a break.
You got to turn in your Hoosier card.
Okay,
you're not a Hoosier anymore.
Easy now. But I mean, you pick up a win in a historic gym like that, Coach. I mean, that had to provide some confidence.
Oh yeah, we talked about the gym before we started. Brendan Hines said he went home that night and watched Blue Chips. Nick Nolte and Shaq Daddy, and it is a nice place to play. They got gooseneck basket hoops,
so cool.
And that's a little different. And, you got a big old arena that seats 5,000+, and the kids were like, I bet this place is crazy when it's packed.
Oh,
and I said, I've been in here when it's packed. And, it was a good night for us. The kids, again, they played hard, and I don't know what happened. I mean, they had some dudes throwing stuff in, and I'm like, what the heck? Guy was falling out of bounds, doing a step back. I looked like he might have been one of the tackles on the football team, you know. And I'm like, holy cow, what in the world? You know, but it's a beautiful place to play. They are fighting hard to keep that tradition there in the building, and they're struggling right now with their athletic program. Football's down and basketball's kind of down, and you know, it's a city that's been transformed through the years, and you know, they are in a place where they're playing Lebanon and Danville, and those people are pretty good, and they're a lot bigger than Frankfurt. So, you know, it was a nice chance to get in there. I'm glad we got out of there with the dub, and the kids were like, "Hey, well, this is all right," and you know, they got to sit there and watch the girls play before us, and it was a boy-girl doubleheader, and you know, they got to take it in a little bit, and I think that was really good, and it's kind of a shame that we have this great tradition of basketball in the state of Indiana, and it's kind of it's slowly. I think a lot of traditions are slowly fading, just with the way we are in our culture and our society, and you know, this was something that I did before I came here when I was at Eastern in Greentown outside of Kokomo. Was we went and played. We probably played a half dozen games in the Hoosier Gym. You know, and that was really a unique experience doing that, and it was fun for the kids. And you know, it's one of those things that you know, it's not on any young teenager's playlist. The movie Hoosiers isn't. Bless those kids' hearts. They couldn't sit still for 2 hours and watch a movie, hardly. But you know, it's a great place to go watch to watch a high school game. You're sitting on top of each other, and they got the walls of the gym are right there. And we were playing Hobart in a tournament there, and it's an old gym, you know that, and we had some big kids. They had some big kids, and you sit on the ends of the court at the gym because there's no room on the side. And when kids would jump and get rebounds in the paint and stuff bouncing around, the floor was shaking. You know, I mean, it was an old gym, but you know, it was fun. The kids loved it. I tell you, who loved it the most was parents and grandparents. I mean, we got more pictures taken out there from that, and you know, the kids and we beat Hobart, and Kankakee Valley beat us in the championship, I think. And you know, I was like, okay, we're having a lot of fun here. Just let the kids enjoy the moment, even though we got beat. Don't be a sourpuss, coach.
Well, I tell you what, you don't have to take your team very far to have the same kind of experience. All you got to do is you go to the Tiger Den, the historic Tiger Den in La Crosse. It's got that Hoosier feel to it.
It does. It really does.
So if you've never taken a game in at the Tiger Den, you got to go on a boys-girls doubleheader in the PCC at the Tiger Den, and you better get there about 4 hours early to find a parking spot.
Yeah, no kidding. Well,
I have heard that. I have heard that that's a good place. You know, and does it have double lines on it?
It does not. I actually tried getting them to paint the double lines because the court's actually only 74 foot long. So I tried to get them to do the railroad tracks, and they wouldn't do it because it'd be too confusing.
Well, Coach, I sure do appreciate your time. Good luck on the road here the next 4 games, 3 of which are conference battles. We will see 2 of them against the Blue Jays next Friday, and then the Bobcats a week from today. So you're going to get your tour of Stark County. We'll be here for you, Coach. Always an honor to talk to you. Thanks for hopping on.
All right. Thank you guys for all you do for everybody, all the athletes, everything in the community, getting sports out there. Thank you so very much.
We'll keep this tradition alive, Coach.
All right.
Hey, have a good day. That is head coach of the Winamac Warriors boys basketball team. It is Mike Springer here on the Saturday Sports Line. We appreciate him and his time. We're going to take a quick break, come back. The Where Are They Now segment with Harold Welter is up next. I think you know him well. He's got Don Zehner. Don't go anywhere. Redskins have it. Presley Messer up top to Portland Minnick. Swings it over to Riley Taylor. Then to the near corner. Rylan Jordan pops the 3. Splash. Rylan Jordan makes it happen, and the Redskins take back the lead 23-22 here. Long rebound saved by Marissa Iverson, then to Maggie Keller, then to Shea Lamer, then swings it over to Croft, inside to Kaylin O'Connor. Turnaround shot is good. 24-23, the Warriors lead by 1 here, 3:30 to go in the third.
One of our hometown businesses here in our area in Monterey, it's LAP Waste.
Being able to recycle is one of our main goals at LAP Waste. Being able to say that we only take about 8% of our trash to the dump is pretty impressive for us, and we hope to keep building on that.
We service an 80-mile circle from Monterey. If you have a small job, big job, or just have a one-time, we are here to make a difference in this area.
And that phone number, Kirby?
574-542-4019.
It's hard to believe, but time sure does fly by. Collins Insurance Agency in downtown Knox are celebrating over 30 years of taking care of all of your insurance needs in our communities.
If I could turn back time.
And we're not going anywhere.
Stop in and see Jim and the crew at Collins Insurance Agency in downtown Knox.
Insurance you can count on from a business you've trusted since 1989.
Proud presidential partners of Western Reserve.
You're listening to Mitch Columbi and Chris McGowan on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
It's time now for Where Are They Now? A look back at more than a half century of local high school sports coverage on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI. Today's program is brought to you by Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox. Now let's meet one of the local high school sports figures from more than 50 years of WKVI sports and find out where are they now.
Well, as we look back on more than 50 years of broadcasting high school sports in the Kankakee Valley here on WKVI, our guest is Don Zehner, a 1976 graduate of Culver Community High School, and we call this segment, Where Are They Now? So, Don, where are you now, and what are you doing?
Well, Harold, I kind of split my time now. I retired the first of 24, and so I spend about 7 months out of the year in Logansport, Indiana, just down the road on 35 from Knox. And then the other 5 months out of the year I spend in Sarasota trying to stay warm.
And in between your playing days, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that here in a little bit, but between your playing days and your professional career, how did that all develop?
Well, you know that it's a funny journey when you look back on it, actually. I was born and raised in Monterey. And that put us in the Culver school system starting in, 1969. And so graduated from Monterey, junior high, then Culver. And, I had a high school teacher. His name was Paul Schmidt from the Monterey area. And he had gone to St. Joseph's College. Really bright guy. And he recommended that I look into it. And went there, graduated with a 4-year degree in accounting and economics. I actually got a double degree there. And from there, was in public accounting for 43 years. And it was, it went amazingly fast.
That's for sure. Now, back in your high school days, and you graduated in '76 from Culver, and you played a lot of sports. And I remember particularly you played basketball, and as I remember, your senior year, you ended up winning the Bi-County Tourney, I think. And
that's correct. Yeah.
Had some, but was it? Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys played more close games in your senior year, overtime games. Some you won, some you lost, 1 or 2 point games. I mean, it was an exciting season, wasn't it?
It really was, and we started out kind of confused. We went 4 and 5 in 1975 in the 76 season, and then in 76 we only lost 2 games. And but I think we lost those first 5 games by 7 points.
Yeah.
And then, so as you said, all of them were close. As I remember, the only one that was a blowout was we played Culver Military Academy. We beat them by 42, I think.
Wow.
We could put the numbers up. We were kind of a run and gun before run and gun was really famous.
Well, you had some guys that you played ball with that, I can say that. They liked to shoot the ball, didn't they? Who were some of those guys?
I had some great guys and remained great friends. One of them, who is a friend of mine since, I don't know, about 4 years of age, is Tim Bauer. Tim's another Monterey fella, and he was kind of the point guard, playmaker on the team, if you will. Another guy from Monterey was Mark Wamsley, more famously known for the First National Bank of Monterey. The Wamsley family has been involved with that for decades. Then there was myself, of course, and Bob Thomas, a Culver fella. He was kind of our shooting forward. Tim played point guard. Mark was, I guess we call Mark what we call him, maybe the power forward. Bob was the shooting forward, and then Matt Marshall kind of played off guard, and he was a freshman. He was from Culver. So 3 seniors, Tim, Mark, myself, and then Bob was from Monterey, and then Bob from Culver, and then Matt Marshall from Culver. And his dad was the athletic director for Culver Military Academy, Matt. So those were the starters back in those days, and all the seniors averaged in double figures. And poor Matt, we let him take the ball out of bounds.
Well, you played a lot of ball in high school, and going back all these years later, what's the one game that stands out in your memory, Don, after all of these years, more than any other?
Oh boy, you're really asking a tough question. Can I guess I would tell you that there was 2 of them for 2 different reasons. One was winning the Bi-County, as you said, and we played a good John Glenn team in the finals, and it was back when we really got snow, and they actually canceled 2 of the night's activities with games, so we had to play in the morning and at night, as I recall how that worked out.
Oh.
And But the guys from John Glenn, let's see, Haney and what was the other fellow's name? Well, I can't remember right at the moment, but those guys were pretty good, and we wound up beating them, and that was memorable just because Culver's, we've had some good players, but we never had really a good team. We hadn't won many trophies, and that was nice because that was kind of the first time a basketball team had won a trophy, a boys basketball team, I should say, and that was very memorable. And then the other was we played Tippecanoe Valley. And at the time, Valley was ranked like 18th, 16th in the state. And this was Class A basketball. And I would remind you that there was no three-point line. You had to get a three-pointer. You really had to earn it. And
right.
So the reason I remember that is I scored 32 points. We went into overtime and lost. I fouled out in overtime. And the reason it sticks with me is because I have 3 grandsons. I tell them the story, is that even with 32 points, Tim Bauer stole the ball, threw it up to me. I was the only guy at the other end, went in for a layup, and, of course, I shot it over the rim instead of off the bankboard. Hit the back of the rim, bounced out. We go into overtime, that would have won it, and that stuck with me for, 50-some years later. I still tell my grandsons, use the backboard. And so they know that one has stuck with me and some things do, it isn't always successes that stay with you. It's maybe a near success or that failure, a simple little play, and I missed it.
Growing up down in the Culver, Monterey area, as you played in high school, who were some of the people who were like your role models or people who helped you be successful in athletics?
Yeah, that's. I would tell you that Tim Bauer was one because he was always so competitive. He forced me to be a better player. Another one was a fellow 2 years older than me, Larry Falstich, again a Monterey guy.
Oh yeah.
Larry was a great baseball pitcher, and he was a kind of a shooting forward for Culver. And both those guys have remained friends, over the years. In fact, Larry comes with his wife and visits me here in Florida for 4 or 5 weeks every year. So we still stay close, and it was that competitive edge all those guys had. It was never get in a fight, drag it out, but you knew if you won, you earned it. And so those would be probably 2 of the guys that and the fact that they were hometown boys too. That they were just right there in Monterey, the town of 200 people, and they were very influential in my development.
We're talking with Don Zehner, a 1976 graduate of Culver Community High School, here on our Where Are They Now segment, and we'll be back to continue our conversation after this timeout.
Need a game plan that has your day covered from tip-off to the buzzer? Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox has you covered. Whether you like to start out with a caffeinated full-court press or control the tempo with a Subway breakfast flatbread, Osborne's Mini Mart has what you need. Don't get trapped in the corner with an empty stomach. Call a quick timeout and get 2 hot dogs. Visit Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox at the corner of US 35 and Highway 8 East to guarantee you win the day.
Our guest is Don Zehner, a 1976 graduate of Culver Community High School. And Don, let me ask you this. What did you gain from being a high school athlete that helped you be successful in life?
Well, I would say, Harold, learned a lot of hard work. And that, there's no free lunch. You got to work to be successful. I think the other thing is that gets lost with today's athletes is the fact that most basketball, anyway, they just throw a ball out there and go play. Back when we played, we would spend time just pivoting back and forth, crossovers, jump stops, all the stuff that just made you fundamentally sound. And I think that's true in life is, don't get overextended financially. Always save some money. Put 5-10% away because someday you're going to be old and it comes quicker than you think. those things all made what I think would be successful. And the other thing is that with basketball, I'm not a real handsome guy, but with basketball, I actually attracted a beautiful young girl who was a cheerleader. And 53 years later, after 40, soon to be 45 years of marriage, she's still as gorgeous as ever. But and I still haven't gotten any handsomer. So, there was so much. And the other thing is, we were able to make our community proud, community for me was Monterey, then it's for Culver. And as I've gotten older, it's just kind of our part of Indiana. I was very proud of North Judson going to state finals.
Yeah.
And realizing that they played very well right up to that last game. But I got a grandson that plays for Pioneer. Not Province Pioneers, Pioneer there in Royal Center. And they just whooped on him pretty good. But they had a great team and a great run. But, people remember that.
Yeah.
And same thing with, there's guys from the stands that watch me play that I still run into. And I would tell you that also helped a lot, Harold, is that we go out and about with my kids. I had 4 daughters and 2 sons who all played sports. And it's amazing the guys you run into. Of course, you're about the same age. So you run into them at your kids' events. And then you can kind of reminisce a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was always fun too, is that you were competitors on the court, but maybe friends for life, or certainly good acquaintances anyway.
Finally, Don, let me ask you, what advice would you give to young athletes, let's say those middle schoolers out there who might aspire to have the kind of success that you have? And what would you say to them that they need to do if they want to have success?
Again, that's maybe that Monterey work ethic, that blue-collar work ethic, but you got to work hard in the classroom, and you got to work hard in your sport. There's some great athletes that are just born, but not, and I don't recall ever playing. I played in different leagues over the years, industrial leagues and stuff. And I never ran into a guy like Michael Jordan that could jump 48 inches straight up in the air. And that's what, unfortunately, a lot of kids watch it on TV and think that's how they can play. And it's not. It takes work. It takes effort. You got to understand the game. Definitely, I'm much more of a Larry Bird fan than a Michael Jordan, just because Larry had very little physical skills.
Right.
Boy, could he just great competitor and that type of thing. And I think that competition can play out in the classroom too, if you use it right. That again, you want to try to get a better grade than this guy, or work harder than that person. And again, you don't hold that against anyone. It's just the competitive nature. And when you get into society, it's the same thing. People will say, "Oh, sports doesn't provide this and doesn't provide that." It's probably the one thing that provides the reality of life, is that those that work hard generally succeed, and the fewer mistakes you make, the more chance you have at being successful. And the other thing is, you're also known by those who you associate with. You associate with good, strong, quality people. That's how people will know you. And again, I guess I'm still throwback to the 50s. Is just solid stuff. You just do what's right, and everything takes care of itself from there.
Don, thank you so much for taking time and visiting with us and reminiscing about some of the most exciting times that I remember broadcasting high school sports here in the Kankakee Valley back in those 70s days. A lot of fun and a lot of great people involved, and we want to thank you again for taking time and reminiscing with us.
Well, thank you, and thanks for asking me. And I want to thank you, too, for being there for those games. You didn't have to show up just when small-town Culver played, but I remember you at the scorer's bench broadcasting the games, and and it was always an honor to have WKVI there. So thanks for your time, and thanks for all that you've done for the community.
Our guest on Where Are They Now has been Don Zehner, a 1976 graduate of Culver Community High School. Join us again next week here on the Saturday Sports Line for Where Are They Now?
Where Are They Now? A look back at more than a half century of high school sports coverage on WKVI has been brought to you by Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox.
Join us each Saturday morning on WKVI for the Saturday Sports Line and worldwide on WKVI.com.
Time now for our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week, given in memory of Tyler Roth, a 2001 graduate of Winamac High School who died as a result of an auto accident 1 week after his high school graduation. His legacy of hard work, outstanding citizenship, artistic success, and super athletic performance lives on with this award given every week to outstanding student athletes from the 8 schools in the Kankakee Valley. Today's award is brought to you by Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack in Winamac, and we'll tell you who's earned the Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week after this word from Web Printing.
Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack and signs of all kinds in Winamac is where all of your printing needs can be met. Whether it's paper, garments, or signs, Web Printing is your full-service printing solution. So if you're in need of embroidered or screen-printed garments, tickets or programs for your event, or documents for your business, Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack is the place to go. For the quickest service, best prices, and best quality, it's Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack in Winamac.
Our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week for this week is... We're going co-athletes of the week. It is Dillon Stewart and Jayde Pryor of the Tri-Township boys basketball team and girls basketball team. Both Dillon and Jayde have had amazing seasons for the boys and girls teams. We saw Dillon score 45 points in that big-time win over the Oregon Davis Bobcats. It went down to the last shot just like we had anticipated. That 45 points solidified Dillon Stewart as the most points scored in a single boys basketball game at Tri-Township in their entire history. That is quite an achievement. Jayde, just last month, broke 1,000 career points at Tri-Township. She is the second girls basketball player in Tri-Township girls basketball history to do so. Of course, Tri-Township is formerly lacrosse. Quite an impressive few years for Jayde Pryor. An amazing night for Dillon Stewart as we name them our Tyler Roth WKVI Co-Athletes of the Week. Dillon and Jayde will receive a certificate, a history of the award commemorating their achievement, and will also be future guests on the Saturday Sports Line. They will be eligible for our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Year award later this spring, which carries with it a plaque and a college scholarship, compliments of WKVI and the family of Tyler Roth. The Tyler Roth WKVI Co-Athletes of the Week is brought to you in part by Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack in Winamac. I'll make sure to get with Miss Pryor and Mr. Stewart this week. As that wraps up another Saturday Sports Line down and in the books, the first one for 2025. We're still here. Stand by, though, tonight as we will be in the nest of North Judson-San Pierre to see the North Judson-San Pierre Blue Jays host another one of our area teams, one of their cross-county rivals, the Oregon Davis Bobcats. We will be going live this evening, roughly around 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central. That's right here on your local hometown radio station, K99.3 WKVI. Until tonight, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm Mitch Columbi. The tradition continues.
From the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios of Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI, you've been listening to the Saturday Sports Line with Sports Director Mitch Columbi and Sports Analyst Chris McGowan.